examining the first chapter of My Immortal, a notoriously infamous Harry Potter fanfiction written by Tara Gillespie in 2007. My Immortal stars a fan character named Ebony Darkness Dementia Raven Way, as well as the original Harry Potter cast turned Gothic. The fanfiction is notoriously bad, regarded as one of the worst ever written, and it has attracted so much attention that it has a Goodreads page, as well as an entry on Wikipedia. The first chapter, which is a little under a page, introduces Ebony, the setting, as well as an introduction to the conflict, being her first meeting with Draco Malfoy. It explains how Ebony got her name, what she looks like, as well as her personality and interests. The chapter was written by Gillespie and subsequently edited by her friend Raven, which explains why the chapter looks much cleaner than the rest. My Immortal, especially in the first chapter, carries a variety of references to the alternative subculture, which is an umbrella term for styles such as goth, scene, punk, and emo. The fanfiction and Ebony, in this regard, bring to mind questions of the identity and perspective of alternative subculture that Gillespie has, as well as her infamous creative choices. Thus, we will be examining My Immortal through the lens of time and space, using the key concepts of identity, creativity, and perspective. We decided to ask ourselves this inquiry question to guide our analysis. What role does Tara Gillespie's perception of alternative subcultures play in the development of Ebony's identity in My Immortal?
When developing our answer to this question, we started by looking at patterns displayed throughout the chapter. The first of these patterns is Gillespie's unconventional choices regarding spelling and grammar. She frequently and deliberately misspells words throughout the chapter, most prevalent in the various author's notes. By the way, an author's note, according to an entry on fanlore.org, generally refers to a line and headers used to provide additional information about a fanfiction. This can include context, why the work was created, or shoutouts. Here's an example of an author's note written by Gillespie, given at the beginning of the chapter. Special thanks, get it, cause I'm gothic, to my new GF, ew, not in that way, Raven, Bloody Tears 666, for helping me with the story and spelling. You rock. Justin, you're the love of my depressing life. You rock too. MCR rocks. The spelling errors are extremely prevalent in this author's note, so let's dive into why exactly they are. As we mentioned earlier, Gillespie saw herself as part of the alternative subculture, and the fanfiction was written in 2007. And during the 2000s, it was incredibly popular in alternative subcultures to deliberately misspell things in this fashion. According to Cheyenne Hernandez, journalist, writer, and emo expert, the people in alternative culture had also wrote in internet slang, and sometimes purposefully misspelled their words, as what turned to WUT, love turned to LUV, and roar. An onomatopoeia usually associated with dinosaurs becomes rawr, R-A-W-R. So Gillespie used these misspellings to mimic the culture she thought was extremely appealing. Her intent was to show her readers that she was just as appealing as her culture, and nothing like those posers or preps.
Next, we look at Gillespie's description and portrayal of her character, Ebony. Ebony, very obviously, falls under the definition of a Mary Sue. Now, Mary Sue is a term used to describe a fictional character, usually female, who is seen as too perfect and almost boring, for lack of flaws. Originally written as an idealized version of an author in fanfiction. It's okay, you can just edit it out. Yeah. For instance, when Ebony first describes herself, it portrays her as attractive and unique. I have long, ebony black hair, that's how I got my name, with purple streaks and red tips that reach my mid-back, and icy blue eyes like limpid tears, and a lot of people tell me I look like Amy Lee. If you don't know who she is, get the hell out of here. I'm not related to Gerard Way, but I wish he was, because he's a major hottie. Mary Sues are usually written into stories for the purpose of escapism, projection, and to fulfill a fantasy of living in a different world as the author's idealized self. This suggests that Ebony, in Tara's eyes, is her idealized interpretation of alternative culture and portrays how she views her identity in that regard.
Tara Gillespie takes creative liberties multiple times throughout the entirety of her story, My Immortal. Ebony's full name, Ebony Narcus Dementia Ravenway, is derived from multiple diverse sources and was desired to make the character seem unique and edgy, which it certainly does. Kind of. Some sources for her name include Gerard Way, lead singer of My Chemical Romance and comic book writer/artist known for his work of The Umbrella Academy, and the serious mental illness dementia, which is the impaired ability to remember, think, or make decisions that interferes with doing everyday activities. The most common form of that is Alzheimer's. My Immortal is also set in the world of Harry Potter, which we can see from her inclusion of the character Draco. But despite taking the world from somewhere else, she makes her own spin on the source material and makes it her own, for the worse. While Gillespie's writing style is unique, she takes many ideas from cultures and stories around her. This creates an interesting dichotomy of conflicting and complementary mishmashes of originality. Her intent from this? Make a story which already has a defined universe and rules, but she can insert herself into.
So, after all the evidence we've gathered, it is time to write our claim. Tara Gillespie's perception and portrayal of alternative subcultures in the mid-2000s is extremely desirable and appealing, affects all aspects of her writing in My Immortal, including Ebony's identity, her frequent misspellings, her Mary Sue-like descriptions, and the drastic changes made to the source material. We hope you enjoyed this analysis of My Immortal's first chapter, and maybe you'll be inclined to check it out yourself.
We didn't enjoy this at all.
I'd just like to give out a fair warning. It gets quite chaotic. Anyways, we'll see you guys next time. Just kidding, this is our only video. Goodbye.
The fanfiction's horrible.
The joke is asking so